First, it was Marvel. Then it was DC. Now it seems that every movie franchise has one thing in common.
Hi.
After years of obscurity as an idea relegated to the weirder niches of science fiction, the multiverse is now a mainstream trend. So where did this idea come from, and why is it suddenly so popular?
String theory, multidimensional reality, and matter displacement.
Let's begin in the mid-1950s. Back then, the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics was all the rage. But the idea of a multiverse related to specific IP first entered the cultural consciousness a decade later. Comics artist Carmine Infantino challenged editor Julius Schwartz and writer Gardner Fox to come up with stories that matched his far-fetched covers, leading to this iconic image featuring both the then current iteration of The Flash and his Golden Age counterpart. In response, Fox pitched a story of different universes and the ability to travel between them. Other writers followed suit, leading to Marvel's numbered multiverses and DC's multiple crises. Fast forward to today, and Fox's idea has become box office gold. So what do studios gain from multiverses? At its core, a multiverse contains stories that are in continuity with each other, with free access to each other's timelines and narrative arcs. It's a postmodern take on storytelling, albeit not as egalitarian in execution as it might sound. Cross-studio collaborations are rare due to legal grey areas, and mostly limited to other mediums, as with the bizarre IP mashup that Fortnite has become. Importantly, a multiverse allows creators to explore new stories and different interpretations of the characters, and satisfies the fans' demand for old favourites, just as Fox did with his two Flashes. In a world where reboots and sequels are seen as the surest route to box office success, multiverses provide a handy shortcut, seeding recognisable IP into new or newer franchises. Perhaps drawing on its distant predecessor, Warner Bros. 2023 cinematic take on The Flash is a prime example. As a solo feature-length adaptation of the source material, there's an element of risk attached, but the filmmakers elected to inject some tried and trusted IP into proceedings. Michael Keaton's Batman.
I'm Batman.
Likewise, Space Jam: A New Legacy's metaverse-esque crowd scenes presented an opportunity for Warner Bros. To sweeten the deal for adult viewers with nostalgic callbacks. Although why anyone thought it made sense to include the Droogs from A Clockwork Orange in a family film is up for debate. So is the multiverse just a mercenary tool? Looking beyond a financial perspective, it's a playful way of seeing characters interact in different contexts. Like a kid playing with an assortment of action figures. This effect is best seen in Into the Spider-Verse and its sequel Across the Spider-Verse, where the story itself draws on themes of mentorship and reaching across differences to find commonalities.
And it's a no on the cape.
I think it's cool.
Comparing different versions of Peter Parker and his porcine counterpart allows the film's creative team, like screenwriter Phil Lord and co-director Robert Persichetti, to showcase the heroic spirit and humour that unites each iteration of the character, including new entrant to the franchise, Miles Morales, who is himself a multiverse creation, debuting in Marvel's Ultimate Continuity. Multiverses can also prompt us to think about the choices that we make, and the different ones that we could have made. Depending on how broad your interpretation of multiverses is, these types of stories have always existed in film. In alternate timeline fantasies like It's a Wonderful Life or Peggy Sue Got Married, the protagonists are given a chance to re-examine their lives by seeing things from multiple perspectives. This approach was seen recently in Everything Everywhere All at Once, with laundromat owner Evelyn exploring the various paths her life could have taken via a dizzying array of parallel worlds. Employing playful homages to other films like In the Mood for Love, Ratatouille, and 2001: A Space Odyssey, Everything Everywhere All at Once neatly sidesteps the legal wrangling of other multiverses by presenting a serial numbers scratched off version of other IPs. Ultimately, it's a tactic that paid off, with the emotional core of the story resonating with audiences and critics alike.
It just doesn't matter how many times I see it, I'm so...
Only time will tell if films like Across the Spider-Verse and other dimension-hopping blockbusters can reach the same heights.